I like to see who kind of rises to the occasion. You know what I mean? I like to see who propels himself into the, hey, look, I'm built for this. I feel like Matthew Golden is built for it because he's got, whether we want to admit it or not, or he wants to admit it or not, there's a lot of pressure on Matthew Golden. And the fact that he's been performing in camp under that pressure, really, really exciting. But before we dive into the battles, Jacob, what do you think about Family Night? Any pre-show thoughts here, I guess you'd say?
No, I think what you just said is very apt. The fact that the Green Bay Packers are able to give, their UDFAs, their early round draft guys, the guys that are just new to this team, an actual game-like scenario to actually before they even start the preseason is something I think is very unique, very special. I've told you guys before, I went to the first family night ever with my family. It was one of the best things I'd ever done, watching my grandma and grandpa, with the fireworks and just kind of seeing everything. That was when they really kind of started doing a lot of the renovations too. So it looks very different than it did back then. It's just really, really cool that, when you are a diehard Packer fan, when you live in Wisconsin, getting to see the way that they've kind of overhauled that stadium and the whole district and the Titletown area has just been something special. And we just got to obviously have the draft there and show it off to the world. And now, the start of this season is something that I'm really excited for. And like you said, man, just watching some of these younger players like Golden, especially some of the rookies, I just really am excited to see how they react to that immediate kind of fandom and stardom that Green Bay provides.
Yeah. That's a great point, Jacob. Like you talk about a tactical advantage, right? For a young player. Get them out there under the lights in front of the fans. I mean, nobody does it like Green Bay, right? 80,000 for a practice. I mean, come on. So it's a chance that before preseason even starts, before we're even going game speed here, you've got an opportunity to get out in front of the crowd under the lights. And, a lot of times that's kind of where you separate the men from the boys, right? You can kind of see who freezes up and maybe
the wheat from the chaff, as they say, right?
Yes. And I agree with
right.
Clayton. I think Clayton has a great point. I think Matthew Golden is built for moments like these. I don't think he's gonna freeze under the lights. I think he's gonna soak this all in, and it's gonna be a good way to hit the ground running for rookies and even some of the second year guys. You know what I mean? Just to get it going again and get the juices flowing, get out in front of the home crowd, and really kind of start your season off, or at least your preseason off, the right way for sure.
Yeah, definitely. H.E. Solder in the chat says, watching a Family Night preview live clearly indicates my need for Packers content has moved to an unhealthy level. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it too. So let's get into it here, all right? First things first, all right? So below are some of the key position battles for the Green Bay Packers ahead of Saturday's Family Night practice at Lambeau Field as teams prepare to cut rosters from 90 to 53 by August the 26th. So earmark that according to AI here. August 26th is the cut down date. GM Brian Gutekunst emphasizes the importance of evaluating players in high-intensity settings like Family Night without constant coaching input, kind of turn them loose out there in front of the fans, right? So here is the first battle, the battle for the number 3 quarterback spot. People are going, whoa, we ain't carrying 3. You're correct. But the chances that we carry 2 practice squad quarterbacks, I feel like it's probably pretty slim, seeing that some of the other positions we want to kind of stack some talent there. So here's what we got. Sean Clifford, experienced from Penn State and 2 prior NFL camps, has been more productive and accurate than undrafted free agent Taylor Elgersma from Canadian college football. Clifford performs better in drills like escaping pockets and hitting targets. Elgersma shows potential but lacks consistency. Decision weighs production versus potential. Backup Malik Willis is solid and could leave next offseason, making number 3 potentially next year's number 2. So it's kind of a twofold here, Tim. What you're looking for with this number 3 quarterback is someone who's going to help with the scout team, right? And you got to have someone that, look, God forbid an injury happened, that dude's going to be active on game day as the backup. But also the chances of Malik Willis returning to Green Bay next year, slim to none. So this is going to be your potential backup next year. And who knows, they both may be gone next year and you move on to another backup. But as it sits right now, that's kind of how things are shaking out. What do you think about this? Do you think there's a chance that Taylor Elgersma knocks off our boy Sean Clifford? Because we've said it time and time again, Matt LaFleur, he always refers to Sean Clifford as a quote-unquote gamer. He loves that.
Yeah, I think the picture you chose here for the article is perfect too. our crew member there is pointing right at the guy that's the odd man out at this point in camp right now. I think he's basically telling you who's gonna be leaving. But we're kind of, I don't know. I mean, unless you never know, maybe Taylor Elgersma is one of those dudes that he gets under the lights and starts throwing lasers, and we see him kind of take a step here as we finish out camp, and we have to remember we haven't played a preseason game yet. I'm assuming we're going to see a ton of preseason reps from Air Canada, as they call them. So I guess my question is, do we know that Sean Clifford is the safe bet, right? If we're talking about that QB3 scenario. But the question is, with the possible departure of Malik Willis next year, or do we really see Sean Clifford as our number 2 going into 2026 would be my question. Is that a legitimate plan, or are we looking, like you said, bring in another quarterback like an Elgersma or like another draft pick to kind of keep the QB factory moving like it usually does here in Green Bay? I feel like Sean Clifford is a great option. I have nothing against him. I love the way he plays the game. But let's be honest, he's getting older too. He's a little bit older than Jordan Love, I believe. Mm-hmm. I don't know, unless maybe that's his role. Maybe he's, one of these, not journeymen, but like a guy that's going to be a solid backup option for you going forward. I don't think any of us thinks that Sean Clifford's going to go win a starting job somewhere anytime soon, right? So is that the plan going forward at your backup spot? If you don't have a Malik Willis around next year, that would be my question.
Yeah, the one thing that I'm really, really sure on here, Jacob, is you'll have no problem landing or passing Sean Clifford or Taylor Elgersma to the practice squad. You ain't got to worry about anybody signing those guys, all right? So which would you choose? Do you go with what some believe is the higher upside with Taylor Elgersma, or would you go with kind of what Tim was talking about, Sean Clifford, the guy who knows the system, played a lot of faith, played more football than Jordan Love up to the point when Jordan was still the backup in Green Bay? That was really, really highly, widely reported that, hey, Sean Clifford's actually got more starts in college than Jordan Love had. Played a lot more football, obviously being at Penn State. But how do you see it, man?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd have to stick with Clifford, that big red dog, is what I'm thinking. I look back at how he started his career. I believe that he was drafted with the idea in mind that, hey, this guy's got so much knowledge. He's really a student of the game. I think he had a longer career than most quarterbacks at that time. As you said, playing in the Big Ten, playing for Penn State, playing against real competition. I believe he actually played with Walker too, which is kind of cool. And I think that when they brought him in, they were doing that as to have a guy that Jordan Love could kind of lean on, that he could maybe help him execute some of the X's and O's, kind of read through the playbook. Like you said, there's different roles for certain backups. Sometimes you just want a guy that can hum that tater. And a lot of times you want a guy that can almost be like a second coach, that's more of a mentor to a guy. And I think that's what Clifford has been. Obviously, I do believe that Malik Willis is the best backup quarterback right now in the league, right? I really do believe that. As far as the third string quarterback goes, I don't think that you could ask for much more than what Sean Clifford provides. Like Tim said, he is getting older. So I think that in the quarterback rotation this year, they might want to stick with him just because he's got that continuity. He's been with Love for as long as I can remember. He's seen the offense, the way that's transgressed and progressed, I should say. And I just think that right now, this season, it doesn't make sense to maybe let him walk if we can sneak him on the practice squad. And then God forbid, injuries, that sort of thing. I think that he is, in a pinch, a guy that can also make some plays. You forget, people are calling him mini Brett Favre for a hot minute. The guy came in and he was not afraid to throw that ball. So, yeah.
H.E. Solder says Elgersma, if cut, might jump back to Canada. It's totally possible, Solder. And if I remember correctly, the Cincinnati Bengals also invited him into their camp. So the Bengals were a little bit interested. Would they see enough value in him to put him on their practice squad if the Packers decide to go with Sean Clifford on their practice squad? I'm also not ruling out them carrying both of them on the practice squad if they like them